Welcome to Jennifer Davies Online. For today's tutorial, I'm going to do it on a web app called Prezi. If you haven't heard of Prezi, it's at prezi.com, and it's a very useful tool for creating presentations. In a way, you can think of it as being similar to PowerPoint, but having a lot more creativity and being a lot more fun to use. If it's your first time, you'll need to sign up to create an account. In my case, I'm going to left-click on Login. Then you enter your email and your password. This is an example of the first Prezi I ever made. It was a portfolio for a course in Conestoga College's Career Development Practitioner program. The instructor then asked if she could use this portfolio for future classes, and I thought I'd go a step further and create a how to use Prezi tutorial as well, which you're currently watching right now. So first I'm going to left click on New Prezi, and I'm going to give it a title. Social Media Efficiency, and then click New Prezi to create it. And I'm going to go with a blank template and click Start Editing. So the first thing that comes up is a nice tutorial. It's very useful and I recommend that you go through it. It'll give you a great overview on how to use the different features in Prezi. For now, I'm going to left click to X and close it, and I'm going to do my own tutorial. So the first thing you need to know is this is where you can find all the different options that you have for Prezi. So for example, you can select colors and fonts. The path selection, this is what allows you to change the order of the slides, so to speak. And then a frame is a way to group like information together to make it easier to move it around the page. And then insert, and we'll start with insert right now. I'm going to left click on insert. You can insert different things such as files. Over here are different templates you can use that are already built in, YouTube videos or images, and there's also shapes. I'm going to show you the template just to get started. So as you can see, there's many different templates you can use. Just like, and if I put my mouse over it, you can see how it actually zooms around to give you an idea of how the template works. As this is just a starting example, for now, I think I'm just going to pick one of these. I think I'll pick this one to start, just to give you an idea of some of what you can do with Prezi. And choose. Okay, so here's a nice template already put into place. So now it's time to start putting in the data. And what I'm going to do is first I'm going to click on, well, it's already selected, right? And what it means when right is selected is I can click anywhere on the screen and it'll open up a cursor so I could type in text. So basically it's creating a text box. So I'm going to give the Prezi a title here. Social Media Efficiency. And here there's some nice presets. I can select title, there's a subtitle, and there's body text, and we'll get into this more a bit later. For now I'm going to select title by left clicking it and then click OK. Now if I want to move the title, I just left click it once it's highlighted. And here comes a nice little screen. I can either use the hand and hold it down and move it up and around, or I can make it smaller or bigger. Also, these lines indicate that I can click with my left mouse button and hold it down and then drag it around the circle in order to rotate it. And then just raise the mouse button when you have it the way you want it. Okay, so now what I did is I created some examples for social media efficiency already, and I'm going to import them as images. So now I'm going to go to Insert, left click, File. I could do Image as well, but in this case I'll just click File. And those are pictures of my daughter. I'll click Desktop, and I think for the first one, school example, And what I'm doing to select multiple images is I'm holding down the Control key on my keyboard. This is just to speed up the process. If you wanted to, you could just select one image at a time and then open. And you can see it's uploading my files. All right, here they are. Just going to move them. And so similar to the title text, I can left click on either one of them. I can make them smaller, bigger, pivot them, etc. So what I'm going to do is make them much smaller, because part of what you do with Prezi is you zoom into things, and I'll show you that a bit later. So for this presentation, I'm really just going to have my 3 examples here. I don't actually need everything in this circle, so I'm going to select it by highlighting it and then press delete on my keyboard to delete it. Select and delete, select. I'm going to zoom in a bit. One way you can zoom in and out of your Prezi is if you have a mouse wheel, you can just use the mouse wheel and you can zoom in and out, and that can make it a bit easier to select things. I just deleted something by accident, so I'm going to see if Control Z works to bring it back, and it does. So to bring this back, undo something I just did, I held down Control and then I pressed Z on my keyboard. Just trying to get this one arrow here. Stubborn, doesn't want to go. There we go. Delete. Okay. So now I'm just going to zoom out a bit, and I'm going to drag the first image that I want to use into one of these circles. And then the second one I'm going to make a bit smaller as well, just so it fits inside the circle, and I'm going to drag it in. And the third one, same thing, I left clicked on it, left click on this minus to make it smaller, and drag it in. So this just gives you an example of what you can do with a Prezi. There's so much more functionality you can use, but so far all you've seen is I've inserted some files. Just to show you quickly what it looks like to insert a frame, I'm going to left click on frame, and if I want a rounded square frame, I just left click and then I just drag my mouse, holding down the left mouse button to draw it on the screen. So click with the left, drag, click there, click on the left to drag, and there you draw it on the screen. I'm just going to delete that. Next would be the pathing functionality, so I'm going to left click on path. And now what happens is every time I click on an element, it'll make an icon down here to show the order of the slides, and it also controls how you're zooming in, and I'll show you in a moment. So I'm going to left click on this entire frame, so now it's showing the entire picture, then the title, and then I can go 1, 2, 3. And this is just to give you an example, and I'll zoom back out again. So now if I want to preview it, there's 2 different options. I can either click on each one of these and it'll show me kind of what it looks like. And I can click back to home to make it back zoomed out again. Or I can click the show button. And every time I left click, it progresses through the presentation. So right here I can see that's a bit small. I'm going to make that a bit bigger in a moment. And end. Okay, so I'm going to make this a bit bigger. For this one, I'm going to move it up a bit. Okay. So one option is I can right click on the hand when I've selected it, and I have the option to bring forward, and I'm going to do that because I want the 3 to be over top of this image. Likewise, I'm going to do the same here. Right click on the hand, left click on bring to front or bring forward. Either one would work in this case. And I'll do it here as well. Okay. So that's your basic pathing. So we already have a presentation created. The next thing I just want to show you to wrap up would be colors and fonts. As you can see, there's so many different packages you can use, basically themes. And if you select either one, it's going to change everything in your Prezi. So I'll just do executive theme, discrete, and so for now I think I'll leave it at the discrete theme. It just gives you a nice package. I'm just going to move this over slightly. There. As you can see, when I'm moving it over, there's a little blue dotted line. This helps you line things up. So when it's on a centered line, it's saying it's centered with the element below it. And that could be a nice way to line things up. Alright, so we now have a completed Prezi. I'm just going to show it one more time. Left click. And if you look at my tutorial on social media efficiency, it gives examples how, like the reason I chose these examples, how this first one is a school post. A school post that I then, if I had to do the work for school to start with, I might as well also put it on my blog, Facebook, and Twitter. So it's a way of increasing your visibility with a minimum amount of work. As I said, this was a post I had to do anyway for school. And then my next example here is an idea. It's a bit small, so I would definitely want to make that bigger. But it's an example of a LinkedIn post that Rob Straby, the creator of this career development practitioner group, did. And I did a comment. And same thing, I put a lot of effort into that comment, but I also made sure I linked it to my Google+, my Facebook, my Twitter, etc. And then for the third example for social media efficiency was an idea of, on Twitter, I was inspired by something Daniel Pink had written. And so I wrote a post for it on my blog, which is here. And then, of course, once again, Facebook and Google+. I'm just going to clean this up a bit. And click Home. So I'm just going to move this 3 down a bit because it's in the way. And 2 can be moved down a bit. Be bigger. One option too is, in the case of this we already know it's a bit too small, is I could add a few extra pathing to it. And so I can click just this document, and then I can move it over. And so now it'll zoom into the document a bit further to increase the visibility. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So it zooms all the way in now, just to make it a bit easier to see everything. I could do the same for that one. Anyway, so that gives you an example of how to use Prezi. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to email me. I can be reached at jennifer@jenniferdaviesonline.com or via my website at www.jenniferdaviesonline.com, or of course I'm on Twitter at JENDAV_online. Thanks very much for listening.